So, this is a still in the bed type topic. So, so much has been coming up for me, and I'm just like processing information. Hence this early live. So I'm really kind of like just processing in front of the camera. So you really can't equate men feelings towards trans women exclusively towards trans women because when we think about the relationship that a lot of men or a lot of beings who identify with the construct of manhood born into this reality, we think about the connection that they've had with beings who are born with vaginas, who identify with the construct of womanhood or celebrate the construct of womanhood, beings who are born with XX chromosomes, or beings who we call cisgender women, just to make it clear for y'all who need, that terminology. Biblically, the biological woman, or the one who was born with the womb, is looked at as Adam's rib. When we think of the scripture that goes along with what a woman is. So a biological woman, the womb manifestation, the cis woman, technically, if we going on what the Bible say, she a man too. You know, Eve was technically a man because Eve came from a man. Like Eve did not come directly from God. Eve came from a man. The baby um is not really said to be Eve's. The baby is said to be his. He put the baby in her. This is in the Bible, they focus on the man's bloodline. You know, they don't talk about the women who played a part in the birth of all of the men that the Bible champions. They only focus on the male bloodline. So, because we live in a patriarchal society, even biological women or cis women or womb bearers who resonate with the construct of womanhood. And I have to give all of these different examples because I don't want us to be tied to labels and boxes. So I like to say things multiple different ways so that, we won't box ourselves in to certain language. But great awakening, grand rising, baby. But like I said, I feel like the way this reality is set up, it's set up for the feminine particle or the feminine essence, or what is polarizing against this patriarchal construct. What is in contrast to this construct is automatically meant to be like a shadow. And we know a shadow is basically the same entity, but it's like a reflection of it, just like the moon is supposed to be a reflection of the sun or something like that. So not necessarily a real entity of its own, but just basically like a mirror or a reflection of who this reality is centering. And this reality is centering the men. This reality is centering the patriarch. So I was thinking about this, just delving into this. When we start to think about this whole trans women, this whole notion of being a trans woman. Because, honestly, when we talk to our partners in private, we find that our partners have an opinion of us that does not coincide with what we are telling society. A lot of times when our partners or those people that care about us are honest with us in private, they let us know how they see us. And it's not always how we see ourselves or how we're teaching other people to see us. But we have to not take it personally, not feel like it's a direct attack on ourselves when we sitting down and we having that heart to heart with our partner, or we're talking to our partner and we're in a heated argument and our partner say some shit like, you still a man, you was born a man, and just to be honest with you, you can't be born an adult you can't be born an adult man. You can't be born an adult woman. If you could be born a man and be born a woman, then there would be no such thing as pedophilia, because you would never be a baby. You would be born an adult. So no one's being born men and no one's being born women, because these are things that you grow into. These are things that you become. These are not things that you are born. You're born babies. You're born XX and XY, or you're born with a penis and you're born with a vagina, or you're born with a penis and a vagina. It's all type of ways in which you can be born, but not necessarily not born a man or a woman. That's not how it happens. So I'm learning not to take things personal when I'm having conversation with, potential partners or partners, and, they tell me, oh, I see you as a man. Because when biological heterosexual men are in relationships with females, they see her as their rib. They see their woman, these Christian men, they see these women as an aspect of themselves, and obviously she sees herself as an aspect of him, because many times her praise goes to a man and she draws that strength from a man when she prays to the Father, when she prays to him, when she worships him. So she sees herself as a part of him. So many times in the culture of Blacks in this nation, those of us who identify with the construct of Blackness, a large part of us see ourselves as a component of the man, see ourselves as a part of the man, see ourselves as a piece of the man, both biologically and trans, or cis and trans, see themselves as a piece of this man. So the cis woman sees herself as a piece of this man because she was said to have come from his rib. The trans woman sees herself as a piece of this man because she was born with certain anatomy. And so that sort of that mind penetration, that mind screwing that happens from being a part of a society that has already said that the woman comes from a man. The man was here first, Adam was here first, and then came Eve. And there are several different stories. We know that scientifically Adam is supposed to be atom, and the atom split but we, through religion, we learned that, it was a man and the man was put into a sleep. But this is the gag. There were two different creation stories because Adam, first um it was supposed to be, if we look in Genesis, there's the part where it says God made, or they made, he and she in their image, and they made them of their likeness. And then there was another story where God put these beings into a deep sleep, or the Elohim put these people into a different sleep. And so there were two creations, there were two sets of creation, and I think that, so the first one was probably Adam and Lilith. And then the stuff happened with Lilith, it didn't work out. So then there was a being who was taken from Adam, and a lot of some of my biological female friends believe that Eve was actually the prototype for the trans woman. So, some of them believe that Lilith was what we would consider cis, and Adam, and so Eve would be considered the trans woman. So that's an interesting theory. But it still doesn't explain how Eve was able to give birth, how that process was able to happen. But Lilith, I don't know. Like, in some stories we hear Lilith came first, In some stories we hear that women were here. This planet was for women, and the men, the sons of the heaven, came down and started to take women and procreate women. So, in some stories we hear that this was a female planet, and that the XY chromosome kind of came from somewhere. I'm more of the mind. I just personally think that it did start off as XX. I don't know if it was necessarily women. I don't know if they identify with the construct of womanhood. I don't know what the beings were calling themselves, but I definitely feel like it was beings who had ovaries and fallopian tubes, because when you really honestly think about it, the clitoris does look like a little mini phallus. So the phallic could actually just be like a growth mutation, because some clitorises actually get big enough to penetrate. I just think that the vagina is amazing. Personally, I wish I would have been born with a biological vagina, but it's no sense in crying over spilled milk. I have what I have. But I just think that the yoni is so amazing. It's just so beautiful. Pussy is so beautiful. I love pussy. And look, I think that society really honestly wants me to just be jealous of females. Like, I think we live in a society that wants us to be jealous of pussy. Want me to look at pussy and just be mad because I ain't got one, and just be, oh, I hate you. Like, we live in a society that really honestly want beings like me to be jealous. Like, it really honestly wants us to be so jealous of vaginas. But I am not jealous of vaginas. I just think they're amazing. And it's like, I'm not upset about not having a vagina this time, because I know that my soul is immortal and I have lived before. And although I don't have a vagina this time, I've had a vagina. I've had a vagina in one of these many existences. I just didn't get a vagina this time. And sometimes I am bothered by not having a vagina this time, but I know I've had a vagina. And I know that I will have a vagina again. But I just think vaginas are amazing. I think vaginas are amazing. Like, That's why I had to have something similar, something close to it. And it's like for me, it was about the sacrifice, being able to um, access certain spaces, being able to feel comfortable in certain spaces. If I'm around, and we and the women have to be sequestered, or beings who have certain parts are changing in a certain area, I don't want to have to explain what I got and what I got going on. No, honey, I'm changing where the rest of the women changing, child. And we ain't gotta explain nothing to the children because I'm good over here. And leaving the country and going to places that aren't traditionally the safest for beings like ourselves so that we could learn and so that we could explore. Like, it was about being able to make moves that I could have never made pre-op. And so sacrifices have to be made for knowledge, for wisdom, for enlightenment, to have understanding that a lot of people don't evolve to have. And luckily for me, I was built for this, mentally, I was built for this. But yeah, if I could have had the parts that I would have wanted to have, and guys will say, and I've had this said to me on a numerous occasion, your pussy is not that deep, you can't, take it. Um, and everything on my body is not solely for the pleasure of my partner. It's not solely for the pleasure of whom I'm sleeping with. Some things are just for me. Like, if my partner is used to having anal sex or is used to having oral sex, then okay, I can accommodate you in those ways. But there has to be something that's about my pleasure. And for me personally, I don't have a desire to see a man, choking himself going up and down on a shaft trying to please me, because that's not really pleasing me. Maybe you're getting life off of gagging and choking, and maybe that's for you, but that's not for me. Like, that's not, I'm not looking saying, ooh, choke, gag, suck on this big old slob on my, like, that's not my idea of enjoying oral, or even having somebody bounce up and down on top of me, like going in and out of somebody's booty hole, or going in and out of somebody's vagina. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I will strap a person down and I'll enjoy it, because that's not me. you know um that's a toy, but I'm not invested in having the equipment that I have to walk around with 24 hours a day. Like, I'm not so invested in having a penis that I need to be walking around with one on my body so that I could please you. That's what they make toys for. I can put a toy on, give you your life, and then I can move away from that. But I don't need to have to walk around with that on. So like, I would have preferred to have been born with a vagina, but I'm not messed up about who I am in my mind. Like, I know I think like a male and a female. I know I think like a boy and a girl. I know I think masculine and feminine. I know that everything that I think does not coincide with how women have been trained to think in this reality. I know I have masculine thoughts. I'm okay with that. But and I know that there are beings who are born with vaginas, who have masculine thoughts, and who don't want to be men, or who don't resonate with the construct of manhood, but they still have masculine thoughts. So that's okay. But if I could have had the anatomy that I would have chose to have to navigate this reality, I would have chosen a vagina. I think that vaginas are magical. No shade to penises. Penises are beautiful. They bring a lot of pleasure. They do amazing things. But I think that the vagina just it's I think that the vagina just has more going on. Like I said, when it gets hard, you could suck it like a penis. You can eat it. You can penetrate it. You can store energy in it. You can push things up out of it. Like the vagina is amazing. And I think a lot of us have shaded the vagina, because it's like how some pre-op girls shade post-op girls, because post-op girls make them feel insecure and invalidate their womanhood. So if you shade a post-op girl because you feel insecure with a post-op girl, then you're shading biological females because you feel inadequate. And I know how it feels to feel inadequate. I know how that feels. I think you have to grow a lot and you have to mature a lot to be able to admit, girl, yes, ma'am, I feel a little insecure, girl. I feel a little inferior, girl, to her because she have a sex change. I feel a little inferior to her because she have a biological vagina. It's okay to admit those feelings. I have them all the time when I'm watching heterosexual porn and I'm looking at them biological vaginas. Girl, I be in here going through it. But I don't be like jaded. I don't be like I can't stand them once a month and bleeding funky cool. Like I don't go there. Like I'm happy for her Yanni. I'm celebrating her Yanni, and I'm imagining in my next life when I'm born again. And I tell the ancestors all the time, okay, child, don't give me no more dick. Don't you give me another dick. I'm through coming in with dicks. We ain't doing no more dicks. I think I proved that point, Neil. I cut that girl off this time. Don't give me no other dick. Don't you give me another dick. Wait a minute, hold on. Don't you give me another dick, baby. I wore the dick this time. Don't give me no another one. Black women were the first trans, I say, because what society looked at them as if they were trans and treated them the same way they treat trans women, even started stated medically that they had T. I think in some societies, Black women were first, period. I definitely think in this society, in this culture, Black women can relate to trans women. The demeaning, being treated less than. But culturally, like when you think about the religion, a lot of Black women are viewed as a piece of the man, just a piece, not even a whole man, his rib, his neck, his backbone. He's like the Black woman is a part on the man. So if she's the womb bearer and she's able to carry life and she's the conduit, the portal and the vehicle to bring human life here, and she is diminished to be a part of him, who I personally feel, I think that, and this is not in all cases, because there are some females to me who are just as ignorant and who are just as unconscious as a lot of these men. But I think that, females are womb bearers who really, really just have taken the time to study and to know the world beyond the physical. Because see, unfortunately, because a lot of women are prized by what they can physically manifest through their bodies, they look at everything like, we think that men are logical, but sometimes females can be way more logical than men. Like we think that logic is an attribute only associated with men. We always look at women as being emotional and women as being detached from reality. But when you're constantly bringing beings into the material, Like if you have the capacity, you done had 8, 9 children biologically, and you're bringing them into the material, you could see a person who has this narrative kind of becoming totally based in what you can materialize, what you can produce. Like I could see the potential for a female being far more logical than a man, simply because of how they are designed. They're designed to bring something tangible that walks, talks, breathes, something physical into the physical plane. That is what many of them are designed to do. And so being designed to create something concrete for this reality can make you really look at stuff logically and just only look at what you can see and what's in front of you. So I think sometimes females, womb bearers, can be far more logical than men. But we're always taught that men are the most logical. But that to me, it would make more sense for a female to be more logical, because she's the one who's producing concrete evidence that we're living in this reality. She's the one who brings that here. That being is the one, and I'm not going to say she, because it's not always a she who's doing it, because I want to honor trans masculine beings. But that is the being who is traditionally bringing that here. So you could see them being super logical. But because that is a reality for them, again, we start to think, oh, okay, well, I only have one life to live, and this is my only time being here. No, this is not your only time being here. We've been here before. And that's why when I get on, when I get on these women, like it's a beautiful thing to look at yourself as a goddess. It's a beautiful thing to see yourself as a divine. But I follow certain females, and it'd be like, oh, because we're goddesses, because we do this, and the yoni is so beautiful. And I'm all for self-love, and I'm all for being proud of your vagina and for celebrating your vagina. I think that's an amazing thing. But understand that that is not a norm for everybody who has a vagina. Like everybody who has a vagina does not see themselves as a goddess. Everyone who has a vagina does not see themselves as a woman. Everybody who has a vagina don't feel that they've had a vagina every time that they've existed on this plane, every time that their energy has been recycled, every time they've taken on human form. They're not imagining themselves as a goddess. Like for me, I think it becomes problematic when we start to erase our ties to that opposing energy that also exists in us. Because I am just as much God as I am goddess, although I like to think that I'm more goddess than God. But and that's why I liked the movie Shang, that Chinese movie about the 10 rings, the Asiatic movie about the 10 rings. Because they were talking about the mother and the father. Like I noticed a lot of storylines are starting to talk about wholeness and celebrate wholeness. So, even though I feel like I'm more my mother than my father, and I say this a lot, I'm, female gender dominant. My feminine energy is the dominant presence. But at the end of the day, I'm both masculine and feminine energy. I have existed as both. Personally, I think that feminine energy came first, because I think that chaos comes before order. And I think that feminine energy is more associated with chaos. And I think that chaos is subjective. I don't think that chaos is chaos for everybody. I think that people who are used to order and all they've ever known is order, I think that when chaos happens around them, they're like, oh, it's chaos. Oh, it's horrible. It's scary. But if you've all you've ever known is chaos, and all you've ever existed in is chaos. Is chaos really chaos? So and I just feel like femininity has a space, a greater space to, I just feel like it has more space to hold that. But I feel like a lot of womb bearers, through the conditioning of their mind to see themselves as basically breeders, or basically a transport, or a conduit to bring many times chattel, workhorses here for the plantation, because let's not, you know, build this up like it's some great thing. Um, I definitely believe that we exist in a multiverse. I think that we exist on multiple planes and multiple realities simultaneously. I think that our energy, like I said, I don't feel like this is all there is. I don't feel like me sitting in front of this camera, laying in this bed, right now is all that it's ever been and all that it will be. I think that I've lived before, and I think that I will live again. I think that I've lived in different ways, in different forms, and I think that that will be constant. And I think that, we have dormant periods. I think that there are seasons where we're unconscious, where we're inactive, where we're not moving. And that's one of the things that I've learned about being positive, having to live with the nothingness. I've learned that there are seasons in our lives where we are in a dormant state, where we're not active, where like HIV can be dormant in your body for 6 to 7 years. It's there, but it's not doing nothing. It's not having an effect. It's not active. It's not animate. It's not doing anything. So I think that just like HIV is an energy, it's a dis-ease, but it's also an energy. It has to be an energy in order for it to have any effect on you. And so we are energy. Before we're anything, we're energy. And so energy can be dormant, energy can be inactive, energy can be laying, sleeping, and then all of a sudden it awakes and it decides that it wants to act, it wants to be. Sort of like when a caterpillar is in a cocoon, it's in this dormant state, it's in this inactive state. So I think that in our life cycles, I'm not always going to be animated. That's why when you die, they say get your rest, RIP. Okay, so I'm going into another cocoon, but I'm going to come out of that cocoon. So get your rest, RIP, for me is more like go into your cocoon. Prepare for whatever it is that you're about to be recreated as, because you're about to come again. Because you're not going to rest forever. You're not going to be laying around resting for 10,000 years and 20,000 years. You done live for 80 years so you could sleep for 20,000, so you could sleep for 20 or 30,000. No, you're going into a cocoon state. You're going into a caterpillar state. You're going into a cocoon state, and then you're going to live again. Then your energy is going to do something different. It's going to more. But if you don't think like that, then someone else is doing it for you. So someone else is controlling you because you haven't even allowed yourself to fathom that. And so now you're not able to exist on that plane of thought because you're not allowing yourself to even consciously manifest that type of stuff. Like you have to, for me, I think you have to manifest it. You have to think about it. You have to start to see what you can become. So so many beings are being born in this reality, and it just beckons the question, what are trans women saying to these men? Like what are they telling these men? Because here it is 20 years later, men are still saying things like, so you was born a man, or so, or, like, because when I be talking to dudes, they be like, so you was born a man. And I'm like, what are y'all telling these men? Like, what type of conversations are y'all having with them behind the scenes for, this far into the movement, for these black men to be still saying, so you were born a man? And I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna close out with this because I don't want to talk about this forever because this is a draining conversation. But I'm gonna tell you this. I think more times than anything, the reason why men like to attribute biological female and trans women to their likeness, the reason why they like to say, oh, oh, you're like this because you're a man, it's really a compliment to their likeness. My father, one of the men who raised me, and even my biological father, like both of them, they have their own individual struggles because I don't identify with the term he, because I won't let them use he. My biological father, not really so much, but the man who raised me, like, he really kind of struggles with using that on me. He really kind of struggles with, because he can't use he on me. And we have to understand that men are extremely vain, and this reality has conditioned them to be vain, and it's conditioned them to be lovers of themselves. And so they want to be able to celebrate their likeness, even if it looks like a woman. And how they celebrate that is by saying that was born a man. Like, look at what men have accomplished. Look at what men can do. Look at what men can become. But sweetheart, I've never been a man. Look at what you can be if you was born with a penis. Look at what XY can become. Yes, of course XY can become this because XY is part XX. Like, I'm part female, I'm part feminine energy. I'm half my foremothers. So it's not a big surprise that I can become this when I was born half of this. But if you call me a man, then you don't have to give credit to my foremothers for the potential. You understand what I'm saying? If you calling me a man, if you're giving man credit for all of this, then you don't have to acknowledge the part that my mother played in it. It's just like when a woman carry a baby for 9 months, and then when the baby get here, he say, this is my child. You were carrying my child. No, I was carrying our child. When a woman said, oh, I carried your babies for you, I carried them. No, you carried our babies. Like, this is just as much a part of me as it is a part of you. So I think why men feel the need to say, a lot of time we take it as they're being derogatory and an insult, but they're really celebrating themselves. But I've never identified with the construct of manhood. I was never a man. I've never been a man. And some girls who are trans women who identify with this construct, they have been men. They have identified as men. They've had the opportunity to live as men. And there are a lot of beings who've had the opportunity to live as men who've decided to transition themselves. And they bring that conversation into the community. They bring that conversation. And I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's a reality. There's a lot of trans beings who live, who don't start their transition until their mid-20s or their early 30s, sometimes in their 40s and their 50s. And so they bring that dialogue from living under the construct of manhood and thriving as a man. They introduce that conversation to these heterosexual men, to these cisgender men who are not really that informed. And it's a way to stroke their ego. It's stroking her ego because, deep down inside, she feels like she's superior because she was born with what I feel was a growth abnormality. Like, don't ask for my opinion on what a dick is, because I love dick. I will sit on dick front and backwards and enjoy it. But do I feel that a penis is superior to a vagina? No. No, I don't. And I know what I was born with in this life is a replica. You know what I got to work with is a replica. It's not a real Gucci. But guess what? It's mine. You know, I am like where I lack in my sexual anatomy, I think that I make up for in my spiritual anatomy. You know, I think that, you know, in the spirit world, my pussy is deep and my dick is long. I feel like on another plane, like on a spiritual plane, honey, because I can take you deep in thoughts, and baby, I could penetrate you down with thoughts. You know, my thoughts, you know, my thoughts, honey. I can penetrate you with thoughts. I can take you deep, honey. Deeper than any ocean. So, you know, there's a different realm where I can take you deep, honey, where we can go deep and I can stroke you down, you know, and that was a sacrifice that I made, you know, in order to be able to go there, you know, but you have to sacrifice so that you can have the wisdom and the experience to be able to communicate in this way. So basically in the wrap up of this video, I just want to say, just for people who follow me and who are experiencing this journey with me, I want you to think about, you know, think about yourself outside of the construct, and also understand, don't allow yourself to be conditioned based on your sexual anatomy. Don't allow someone to tell you who you are based on your sexual anatomy. Don't allow a biological womb bearer or a female who identifies with the construct of womanhood to diminish you because you were not born with a vagina this time, because you were not born with ovaries and fallopian tubes this time. Don't let them diminish you. Don't let them decrease you and make you feel less than. You remind them that this is just one life of many. And for some reason, you and your ancestors decided to undergo this and experience this time. But if you are woke as you claim to be, sis, if you are as close, if you're as woke and enlightened as you claim to be, then you know that this is just one of many journeys for me. You know that I've had a vagina before and that I will have a vagina again. But for this particular journey, for this particular incarnation, I am without vagina. So don't come for me. If you're really my sister and you're really my mother and you're really my daughter and you're really my family, then sweetheart, share your womb and let us raise these children together. Let us have this family together. We don't need to be beefing with each other. Share your womb. And if I need to, if I was a girl who still had my penis, girl, I would share my penis, girl, and do what needed to be done so that we could create our family and we could create our tribe, girl. But girl, we're going to work with what we got, girl, and we're not going to put each other down, girl, and we're going to love on each other. And for these brothers, you let these men know, sweetheart, yeah, I was born with the same anatomy that you have this time, but I'm whole in my mind. I'm whole in my being. Yes, I have some physical parts that are similar to yours, but I have some spiritual parts that where you're lacking. and what being a woman and what being that is about. It's about pulling things from the spiritual realm and bringing them into the physical. It's about pulling things from the immaterial and bringing them into the material. And so these are still our gifts, whether we can bring physical babies here or not. We still have the power to transport something that was not into a place to create a lane for it to exist and for it to be, with our spiritual gifts and our talents and our creativity. So, we have to do the work of explaining to cis men, hey, I'm like you to a certain degree. I can relate with you. I can connect with you to a certain degree, but I'm also like her. And these are the ways in which I am. And so you have to do that work of knowing yourself in order to be able to do that. And if you don't, you're just going to be someone around here that is helping to perpetuate this narrative that really, really does nothing more but support patriarchy. Because you around here saying, at the end of the day, I know what I was born. Sweetheart, what you were born is one of many incarnations. This is one life cycle. If you know who and whose you are, then you know that you've lived many times. You've existed many times. So what you were born this particular time places no bearing on what you are in eternity and who you are internally, in your spirit, who you are in your soul. So all of that, what I was born stuff, yes, you were born with a certain set of equipment in order to be able to relieve yourself and procreate and and feel pleasure and relieve stress if you so choose. You were born with a certain set of equipment to do a certain thing, but that equipment does not speak to your character. It does not speak to your identity. It does not speak to who you are and what you are in the grand design. It's merely speaks to your functionality in this particular incarnation. And you have to develop the capacity to be able to communicate with your partners in such a way. Because when you don't have that capacity, you diminish who we are in consciousness. You diminish who we are as ancient beings, who we are in spirit, who we are as elemental beings. We diminish our ancestors who existed before the construct, who existed before the matrix and the game began. And now in the times that we're living in, we must revisit this way of understanding if we are to evolve, truly evolve. And everybody's not going to get this because we all weren't born at the same time. We are all not going to die at the same time. It's always going to be some 5%er that's going to try to diminish you. It's always going to be some turf, some women who think that they better than you or superior to you because they was born with a vagina. It's always going to be beings who are going to think like that. It's always going to be men who going to want to egotistically put you in their lane so that they can make sense of you. It's always going to be some women who are going to want to reduce you in order to make sense of themselves and to feel validated within themselves. But when we stop being the divide, when we stop allowing ourselves to be herded like sheep into our own individual pens, and when we start saying, I am my mother and my father, I am my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, I am the ancient ones, I am them who were before we became flesh. When we start to speak about who we are beyond this, when we start to be that spirit that does not have a gender, that spirit that does not have a sex, when we start to become those beings, when we start to speak in that way, we destroy those things that divide us, and we become the hope and the dream that our most ancient elders and ancestors have for us. It's okay to be like your father. It's okay to be like your mother. It's okay to be whole. It doesn't take away from how you navigate in this reality. Because let me tell you something. I'm whole, but I still love a dress. I still sit down when I pee. There are things about my personality and things about me that are always going to be more feminine because that's how I feel comfortable. That's what resonates with me. But I'm not going to pretend like I don't have any connection to my father's, just so people won't have to question if I'm authentically who I say I am. Because there's a lot of girls around here performing this idea of femininity, and it's really all just a scam. I didn't become a woman because I wanted a man. I didn't become a woman because I wanted dick. I was juggling men when I was presenting as a male, when I was a young lad, little boy. I was juggling dicks. I did not have to dress up in order to get penis. I had dudes fighting for me and fighting over me when I had a penis. When I was living as a boy, when I was acknowledging myself as a boy. So being who I am, living in my truth, it was never about them. Getting my vagina, it was never about them. It was never for them. It was always for me because I wanted to be as close as I could to the likeness of the divine feminine. That's what it was about for me. It was about growth. It was about becoming more than my sex organs. It was about becoming more than my sexual anatomy. It was about not letting society dictate to me who I was because I was born with a penis. This shit was bigger than Nino Brown. It was never for him. And I think a lot of men struggle with that because they don't have the capacity to make that sacrifice. A lot of times their dick makes all of the decisions for them. And then you will go and cut your dick off. You will go and have your penis inverted. It's what I'm saying in the spiritual world. It's a declaration. It's a powerful declaration. And I'm ending a cycle of oppression. And like I said again, everybody's not going to get it because it's not meant for you all to get. I do believe that, and they get mad when you're not jealous, like we think we are better. Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, I went through my jealous. I went through my jealous. I went through my jealous moments. I went through my jealous moments. With the female anatomy. But why? Why am I gonna be jealous? This wasn't my time to have a pussy. I may have done something wrong in the last life, and that may be why I don't have it. It may be something I needed to learn in this life, being born with the anatomy, and it may have been about me just proving how badly, I wanted it. Would I be happy with a vagina that didn't work? Would I be happy with a vagina like what did I want to have a vagina so bad, or do I resonate with the yoni so much that even if my yoni couldn't bring any children here, even if I couldn't have a cycle, even if I couldn't do all of the amazing things that a vagina could do, would I still want one? And clearly the answer is yes. When a man says that you was born a man, they don't want to acknowledge they are attracted to you. And I agree with that. But I think that there's multiple reasons why men do what they do. I don't think that your reason is absolute, and I don't think that my reason is absolute. I think that we are as different. We are very different. We're not all the same. We don't all think the same. I think that some men want to be able to brag and say, this is what, this is a man. Like, look at what we can do. Look at what we can accomplish. And I also think that some men say you're a man because they struggle with, that's for men who are not attracted to you. So, George, I think you missed the point of what I was saying. Like, this is when men are attracted to you and they see you as a man. They say, but we have to understand that a lot of men, it takes them a long time to get to this point to where they can accept themselves, where they can just be like, look, I'm with this freaky shit. Like, I like to do stuff that's not traditional. I like to do queer things, and it took them a long time to get to that place. And unfortunately, the trans woman that they're dealing with, a lot of times she's moving on a totally different, she's already accepted that she liked the freaky stuff, that she was with stuff that wasn't traditional. She's already accepted that about herself. Now she's trying to understand herself. She's trying to understand her being. Like, she's trying to understand who she's are. Like, he's trying to accept his sexual identity. The trans woman, she's trying to accept her whole, like, she's doing the work of understanding who she is beyond her sexual identity. So a lot of times we are in two different places, because the trans woman, she is forging an identity. She's shaping her being, and he's still trying to deal with the kinky stuff that he like. And let's be clear, a lot of these men, they really honestly, it's like the trans woman, for a lot of, and this is what the trans woman is becoming, and this is no shade to a lot of trans people. Like, don't take this as a general statement. This is just my perception of some things that I see. I think that for a lot of men, when they see trans women, they look at a trans woman, especially a trans woman who identifies as heterosexual, which means, okay, so she only like men. She only deal with men. She's not attracted to feminine, she's not attracted to women at all. And this is no shade. This is just my opinion. And I'm not saying this about all trans women. Let's be clear. But I think that some men look at trans women and they're like, when you put that wig on and when you go and have your body augmented and have your body changed, it's just a way of saying I'm with the freaky shit. Oh, they got a wig on, so that means that, they'll give me some head. That means that they'll get done in their booty. That means that they'll do me in my booty. That means they with the shit. That mean they with the shits. They got that wig on, they got them titties. Oh, they gonna do any type of nasty sexual thing, with a man. They with the shit. Like, this is your way of declaring, I'm not ashamed to take dick. I'm not ashamed to suck dick. I'm not ashamed to top somebody. I'm not ashamed to top a booty hole. Like that's how some men see it. It's like, that's your That's your greeting card. That's like you know how when you meet somebody for you work for your business and you give them your business card. So the work and the way that you look, especially if it's a clocky girl, like if she intentionally clocky, this is her business card saying I'm with this shit. I'm with it. I'll do it. Just in case you was confused, just in case you didn't know, I'll do it. So I think that a lot of and this generation is becoming very much that. Like like it's just basically drag to let people know I'm with it. I'll do it. You know, and I don't think that all trans femmes are like that. You know, I think that some of us are really, really trying to understand our connection, to our ancestors. Some of us are really trying to understand ourselves. But we're going to be clear. Not all of us are trying to figure out ourselves. Not all of us are trying to understand ourselves. Some of us know what we like, know what we want. And it's really just physical. It's not anything spiritual. It's not anything it's not anything beyond the material. It's just good sex and whatever material pleasure or material luxuries I could benefit from throwing on this costume. That's what it is for some people. Um, Man, adult, human, male, simple as that. Yeah, but I mean, a man, to me, is not an adult human male. It's an adult who identifies with the construct of manhood. So if you're not identifying with the construct of manhood, then I don't know if you could call them a man. I mean, society probably would call them a man, but I don't think that, I think it's how we identify. It's not how society sees us, it's how we identify. Now, a society sees me as a woman. I don't fight with that. When I walk outside my door, they be like, yeah, da, da, da. But it starts to get on my nerves sometimes because I don't like when men be like, yeah, baby girl, and you gonna do this for daddy. And like, no, like you don't get to, because sometimes it feels like you're trying to diminish me, baby girl, and do this for daddy and the fuck. So it do trigger me sometimes. I'm there in consciousness. I don't hear terms and titles like that and I be like, oh yes, because I'm baby girl, and yes, that. And now don't get me wrong, there are some men that I will do that with. Like, if I don't feel like a man is behaving in a way that's toxic, if I don't feel like he has toxic masculinity and he's not always trying to do something to diminish me or make me feel like I'm his lapdog or his ornament or his trophy, and I feel like he actually honors me and shows me a certain amount of respect, then yeah, I'll play the little game. I'll be like, yes, daddy, and that I'll do that, if it's not toxic masculinity, but I don't reward toxic masculinity. If you already have a huge ego and you already giving off them type of vibes, I'm not finna feed into that because I'm not gonna feed that. I'm not going to nurture that. But if I feel like you do need a little bit more confidence, or I feel like, you could be a little bit more aggressive and that wouldn't hurt none, like, I pay attention to what I'm dealing with. So it's a case by case basis with me. I don't treat every man the same because every man don't act the same. Some men are more humble. Some men are more sweet. Some men are more thoughtful. Some men are more compassionate. Some men are more empathetic. And so those men, the men who I really feel like they're not trying to be chauvinistic pigs and monsters and greedy ass fucking cows, then those are the type of men that I will play the daddy games and daddy's little girl. Like, I'll do that shit with you. But I'm not gonna do it with no man who already think his shit don't stink and he already egotistical as I'm not gonna feed that. You'll get no meal from me here. I'm not gonna feed that. You already a sexist monster and you already, think that, and I already see these tendencies in you. I'm not gonna feed that. Period. I feel like what makes it opposite is what make it opposite that make them gay because they're ruminating. Wait, I feel like what makes it opposite that makes them gay because they're ruminating. Oh, resonating with masculinity. Oh, at no point in time were we confused with trans-identified males, cause white people sure as hell knew who to come to raise and breastfeed. Wait, at no point in time were we confused with trans-identified males. Um, I think Ari 0212, I think I get what you're saying. But I also get what she's saying. Not confused about who had the capacity or who had the capability. I think because I definitely think that black women, have done, just are some great beings, just period, just are some great beings. But what I think she's saying is that in a patriarchal European society, um, the black woman is queer. The black woman is not the standard. She is looked at secretly. She is the standard, but just not. We got to make sure that it looks Caucasian. We got to make sure that it looks European. So I think she's saying that there's a correlation because black femininity is queer in a patriarchal European society. True black femininity, true deeply melanated Negro femininity is queer in a society that was created to cater to Caucasian men, pretty much. I'm an adult human female, aka woman. And you identify with that. But not every female identifies with woman. So, the AKA works for you because that's how you see yourself. But that's not how society as a whole, like that's not how the whole, like everybody born with a vagina doesn't see themselves as a woman. So you could simplify that for yourself, but you can't, that doesn't speak to how everyone, sees themselves. And so I'm trying to create a platform where, unique beings who see themselves beyond the binary and who see themselves beyond these westernized European constructs. Like this is a dialogue that we're developing, and these are the conversations that we're having to try and evolve. No, I mean the way that society treated black women. Like, yeah, basically that's what I was saying. We looked at math, we looked at as math. Yeah, because black femininity has been ridiculed. That's why a lot of black women today are running around here trying to look like white women, trying to look like RuPaul's Drag Races. And RuPaul even said that he wanted to do Afro drag, but he said the money was in European drag, and we know why. And then when we look at Miss Universal, the Miss Universal Queen, now they got a drag show for Miss Universe. And girl, all them girls look like it, all look westernized, it all look European. And it's like you're representing the whole universe, but yet you still look like a white woman. Like, what's that tea really about? So, whatever. How you gonna represent the universe, but you still look like a white woman? Like, is the white woman look universal? why that's why it's okay to do things to black women and not white women, because they're looked at as the real women, and black women as was manly to them. Child, and that's why black women have been trying to make so many changes to themselves. Okay, so that makes sense. And you don't believe in reincarnation. So that's where, our viewpoints would vary, because I definitely believe in reincarnation. If water can reincarnate itself and I'm three-fourths water, then I definitely believe in reincarnation, because water does nothing but recycle itself. And just like the world, just like the planet is three-fourths water, I'm three-fourths water. So yeah, it's definitely some recycling going on here, reincarnation going on here. Um, I can Google articles and scientific research that they made to refute that fact. I have receipts. This isn't just conjecture, right? Wait, let me see. Um, yeah. Weird spirits in the material world, just like that song from the 1980s rock group, The Police. Okay, I need to hear that song. There's a song about it, because it's dangerous to women and girls. Right? And it's racist and anti-black that you even dare to insinuate that. Racist and anti-black to insinuate what? Girl, goodbye and good morning. What is George talking about? Who is George? Like, I mean, you could pretty much tell what level people be on. And so, this is not this is not like, if you here for makeup tips, or or banking tips, or how you can hustle or come up, or a scam or something, like, this ain't the channel. Like, this ain't for that. Like, I don't maneuver in that. Like, I like to think of myself beyond the illusion, because this is all an illusion. Like, everything is basically created to keep us distracted and keep us busy, while the powers that be basically siphon off our energy. um and they doing it successfully with a lot of people. Like, this shit is happening every day. From the moment you go to sleep to the moment you wake up, the programming never stops. The programming is real. You don't have to believe that. But child, if you pay attention to anything besides yourself, you will definitely see that the programming is always in full effect. Um, it is a fact. I just wasn't the one who did. I just brought it up to show commonality and then hypocrisy. Like, I understand um there is no commonality or hypocrisy. You are feminine male, simple as that. So feminine males, like like I really can't argue with you on this, because this is your perception. And so by your logic, um beings who are born with vaginas, who identify with as men, are just masculine females. And because you're looking at this for the purpose of procreation. So basically, if I'm hearing correctly, you have a very you have a very carnal, masculine, a very you have a very um just a very narrow perspective around this experience. So, and it's basically what I just said. A lot of beings who are able to carry life inside of them and bring beings into the material realm, a lot of times um, are more logical than men. So, by what you're saying, you would be an example of one of those very logical beings who were born with a womb. You know, you see things for what they are in this reality, and your vision does not extend beyond that. You don't think about what we were in the past. You don't think about what will be in the future. You're just focused on right now. And that's fine. You have the right to do that. Um but these are just projections. Like these are your thoughts. We are all one. We all came from the same place. Okay? Everything comes from the same place. We're just um different reflections or different projections or different ideas of the same source. And that source is both masculine and feminine. So our parts are just what we use to create. But again, for me, they don't determine who we are. When you say, when you say all of these words were made up to make sense, and they were made up by our oppressors to make sense of who we are. We don't know what our ancestors, how they saw it, thousands of years ago. We know what our oppressor has taught us. So most of the language you're using, Ari, to make your points is language that was created by Massa to oppress us. So I definitely don't think that having a vagina makes you a good mother, because there are millions of examples of beings who have been born with vaginas who have chosen to terminate pregnancy, who have been abusive towards their children, who have been violent and malicious towards children. So having ovaries and fallopian tubes definitely does not secure that you will be a good mother, that you will even be a decent mother. Um, Being a woman, there are all different kinds of women. There are women who are addicts. There are women who are prostitutes. There are women who are murderers. There are women who are rapists. So it does not even say that you will be, it does not mean you're a decent woman. It just speaks to idea that you resonate with. Being a woman doesn't have a look. It doesn't have an aesthetic. There are women who look, by society's definition, like men. Facial hair, broad shoulders, big at the top, little at the bottom, jug head, deep voices. Like there is no particular aesthetic that a woman possesses. So it doesn't mean that because you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you're a decent human being. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a good mother. It's just an idea that was given to us by our oppressor that beings who are born with vaginas resonate with. Period. And it's the same thing for men. It's an idea that you resonate with. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a decent man. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a good father. It just means that this is an idea that you resonate with, that was given to us by the people who conquered and captured our ancestors. Moving right along. How are you not the same? What is one thing that all trans... Hello? I'm live. I'm live. I saw the text. All right, love you too. Bye-bye. Yeah, so how is it not the same? What is one thing what is one thing all trans women have in common? There's nothing all trans women have in common. Some trans people are intersex. So some trans people are born with ovaries inside their nutsack. Cause I know a girl who was born like that. Some girls born with one testicle and one ovary. Some girls is born with penis and balls. Some girls is born with little bitty, little bitty, little bitty, little bitty penises that look like they could have been a vagina. Some girls born with big old penises. Like people are different, you know. So there's not one thing that we all have in common. Just like there's not one thing that all females have in common. You know, there's not one thing. Ideally, there are some things that we have in common, but there's not one thing that we all have in common. Like I think we all have in common that we're human. At least for the most part, you know, that's all I know. All of us, that all of cisgender society hates on us, girl. You really have felt that one, huh, Sanaya? Because I can't tell you what all the real women have in common, regardless of race. And the idea of real women, I'm starting to wonder if you're a real woman. Like, are you trans? Because you giving me some real trans vibes in this comment section, because I have a biological mother and biological sisters. Like I have biological female family member who love, accept, and respect the hell out of me. I have biological females who tell me they want to be like me when they grow up, who honor and respect me. In this comment section, you're sounding like a trans girl pretending to be biological. This is what you're giving me. You're giving me very much a trans woman who's pretending to be biological, because this is not how a biological woman talks who's confident in herself and knows who she is. This is not my experience with biological women. So I'm confused. I don't even know if I should really entertain you, because you sound like a trans woman. You sound like a young trans woman. You don't even sound like a biological woman right now. You sound like a young trans woman who wished that she was biological, who wishes and prays, you know, um and I can tell you, like, because being a real woman, you know, we are all, you know, real life beings. Like nobody is fake. We're not all born with the same parts, you know, but we're all real. You know, no one is fake. And again, a woman is a construct. It's not a real identity, you know. It's not a real thing. And if you were here at the beginning of the conversation when I was talking, the woman was supposed to be a part of Adam's rib. So the woman was really a man too, a piece of a man. So, you know, if we going based off of religion, which it sounds like that's where you coming from, um, you a man too, pretty much. And it's disrespectful, disingenuous, and condescending. It is. Go on. Come on, answer me, babe. LOL. What is the physical characteristics all trans identified males have in common? Right. And so what you're talking about are physical characteristics. And a lot of women have these same physical characteristics. And if you're talking about a penis, some females, some XX chromosomes are born with protrusions that look like penises as well. What is a clitoris but a baby penis? So we all have some of the same stuff going on. It just doesn't always manifest biologically. It just sometimes it's just internal and it's not external. I'm not chattel, so my genitalia does not decide who I'm going to be. Your genitalia decides who you're going to be because you see yourself in a different way than I do. I don't look at myself through the same lens that you look at yourself through. You look at yourself through just a physical lens. You just said that you don't believe in reincarnation. You believe you only get one life. So sitting here arguing with you would be stupid because no one's disagreeing. I said that in this video. In this life, I was born with male anatomy. No one disputed that. Like, so to sit here and go backwards and forwards with you is really kind of stupid because I already said that at the beginning of this live. I said I was born with male genitalia in this life. You said you don't believe in reincarnation. So why would you continue to comment after I said that, after that point was gathered? You should have been like, this not my vibe. Like, why are you still here? What is here for you? Because you're not being fed here. This is not how you see the world. This is not how you reason. This is not how you understand. This is not your logic. So don't go where you're being fed, because I'm definitely not gonna try to come and eat off your plate, because you can't feed me, because you only see yourself as what's right now. Then after that, it's over for you. Right. And define women without using the word woman in your definition. A being who is willing to die for how they see themselves. A being who is willing to die for how they see themselves. A being who is willing to suffer, be persecuted, be harassed, be talked down on, be belittled. A being who is willing to walk through the fire and suffer for how they see themselves. I think I just defined it without having to use that word. Next caller. Go read a book and learn something. Being male and being a man are two different things. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Nan16. I'm so glad some wisdom is on here. You look like characters of a female cosplay. Like, this is silly. So what I'm about to do is block you, sis, because you coming on here now. Your energy is malicious. I'm looking at your profile picture and it looked like you turned to the back, like you advertising your ass. But you're a female though, and you're advertising booty hole. Okay, girl, I'm not about to play with you, girl. All right, sis. All right, sis. Girl, this is still ignorant in this category, coming from very biased, negative, combative space. I'm not here for a boo. Not here to learn. That's what I'm like. She's not here to learn anything. Like, she's here. I could see myself as a Chinese woman. That doesn't make it a fact. Sweetheart, I don't think we're comparing nationalities. We're talking about, that's a culture. Like, Being Chinese is a culture. Like, I can be brought up, I could look like this, and I could be born in China. Do you think that society would see me as Chinese? But guess what? I'm still Chinese because that's where the fuck I was born. Like, society, if I came to America, society would still see me as a black person. But if I was born and raised in China, then I'm Chinese. But society is still gonna see me as black. So what are you talking about? Make it make sense. Make it make sense for me. It's not making sense. Make it make sense. I want her to make it make sense. It's not narrow. I used to support trans ideology. I no longer, after some more research and experience. Okay, well. So what are you getting from this? Like what are, if you've done your research and you've already come to your conclusion, what are you looking for here? What are you trying to get from being here? If you've done your research, you already come to your conclusions. Because I know you don't think you convert nobody on here, because it's mostly trans people on this live. So what are you doing here? Maybe she was born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I'm questioning what's going on, because I'm not. It's not really. It's not really coming together for me. Um, it's not really coming together for me. That's why I tell trans women to love themselves, and body women come, and yeah, and women come all shapes and sizes, right? I'm here because there could be a young impressionable child in the chat thinking about transitioning, and they deserve to hear a counter argument. So okay, I'm gonna let you go with that, but it's not a young impressionable child in the chat. Most time, young impressionable children don't come to my chats because I'm not teaching trans 101, and I'm not over here. I don't even promote transness. I say it's my slave name, you know. I'm teaching a different thing. I'm talking about wholeness and Laylim Layler. So when you get to the level, when you find me, you're already on a more evolved capacity. I attract more spiritual beings to my life. That's why I'm shocked that you found me. I typically attract more spiritual beings to my life. I'm not on here teaching trans propaganda. I'm not on here promoting transness. Because I don't think I've said a lot of things on this live to challenge it even itself. So, I am the counter argument. So, what you're saying is not a counter argument. You're saying, you're saying things that are to diminish our connection to our foremothers. Like, you're trying to erase that based on anatomy. You're telling me that I don't have the right to celebrate my mother. I don't have the right to live like my foremothers because I was born with a penis. You're telling me that a piece of genitalia is supposed to dictate who I am and how I navigate life and what spaces I move through and what type of being I become. That's not a counter argument. Telling me that I can't connect with my foremothers. And I think that's where a lot of trans women lose ground at, in trying to create this false woman world that has nothing to do with our foremothers. And that's why I'm not on the front lines of the trans movement, because a lot of trans women, not all trans women, but a lot of trans women don't like biological females. A lot of trans women are mad at their mothers for rejecting them, are mad at their sisters and their aunties for rejecting them and for belittling them and putting them in harm's way. A lot of people have a chip on their shoulder. And if you ask me, a lot of Black people have a chip on their shoulder. We have a natural side eye built in because we're born into a reality that has dealt us so many ugly cards. So we all built with a natural side eye, a side eye built in. But I think that a lot of trans women lose respect for me because they don't pay homage to their ancient mothers. They don't pay homage to their foremothers. Just wearing a wig and playing dress up is not playing homage to your foremothers, because let's be clear, this society was founded by men in wigs, high heels, and tights. So most of the drag that we wear and say is for women, it really was for men. We don't know what the original XX looked it like. How the original XX dressed, how the original XX saw themselves. We don't know how the original womb bearers were. But I know that my female cousins who are in my family, when they were young, they didn't run around with dresses and high heels and tote purses. They climbed trees and rode bicycles. They had to learn how to act like society says that a woman is supposed to act. A lot of the feminine women in my family, the ones who was born with vaginas, they was more masculine than me as children. Period. So we don't know and they say when you're a child, you more like your ancestors. You have to be taught how to navigate society the way society tells you to. So it seemed like a lot of biological females that I knew seemed like they was whole until society told them, oh no, in order for you to advance as a Black woman in this society, you need to put this wig on. You need to put these high heels on. You need to cross your legs. You need to be seen. And I heard, like, before they learned all of these things that they learned from a patriarchal society, which is what my sister Sanaya was talking about, and you tried to make it look like she didn't know what she was talking about. What research are you doing? Yeah, that's what I said. Good point. She might be trans, because I'm not getting girl, woman is a construct. Everything is a fucking construct. Being a woman is a construct. Do you even know what a construct is? Do you know what a construct is? It's a box that's created to label something so that you can know how to manipulate it, mold it, and market to it. I need to know how to target you. I need to know how to market to you. I need to know how to interact with you. I need to create a science, a sociology science for this. So I need to label it. Woman is not a construct. Woman and man is a construct. Both of them is constructs. The definition is simple. Even a definition is a damn construct. And I surely didn't come from a man's rib. Men came from me. Okay, baby. Child, we all came from source. It wasn't no human being around here pushing out everything. Before you was here, before you was spreading your legs and pushing life out of it, what was here before you? What was here before that? What was here before we took on human form? What was here before we evolved into that? Because it's the same energy being recycled over and over again. Um, Yeah, they will twist things to say that we came invading their spaces. Isn't that it in itself, dare I say, masculine energy, right? And a lot of females channel a lot of masculine energy. I mean, I know you don't think you could sit up and take dick all day and all night. Some of this toxic masculinity, and you around here letting these men with toxic masculinity that y'all done really honestly created because y'all policed it, you police these men, tell them they can't cry, tell them they can't be sensitive, tell them he acting soft, tell him he acting like a bitch, tell him he old pussy ass nigga. And I know this because I've done this to dudes before. Even as a trans femme, I've done this. I'd be like, oh, look at this pussy ass nigga. Look at this fuck boy. Look at this bitch ass nigga. I say stuff like that. And I get it from females. And so when you police this man to the point to where his masculine energy then became toxic, and you letting him nut in you with all that toxic masculinity, you're going to channel that. It's gonna come, it's going right in you. He nutting in you, he ejaculating all that toxic energy into you. And girl, you about to channel it. When you start talking, you gonna sound just like him. Toxic. You got to heal him before you let him fuck you. You got to heal him before you let him nut in you. You got to let him know he whole. You got to let him know that he's his mother and his father, that he's masculine and he's feminine. And that doesn't make him weaker and it doesn't make him less than. In fact, it makes him stronger. He's whole. You have to affirm that. Let that man be whole. Let that man become a manifestation instead of just being an abbreviation. Let that man be whole. Heal that man so he can put some good calm in you, some good healthy calm, spiritually and physically. Come on, give me the healthy calm. Not just the healthy calm when it comes to diseases, but the healthy calm mentally, the healthy calm emotionally. Give me some good healthy calm. Come on, hashtag healthy calm today. Girl, before one of these titties fall out, baby. I'm arguing things that can be proved. Prove reincarnation. I don't have to I don't have to prove incarnation is real. Prove God is real. Prove that it really takes sperm to make a baby, that a man really have to ejaculate in a woman to make a baby, because there's something called parthenogenics where women were having babies without men. Prove HIV is real. Prove diseases that live inside the body are real, that we can't see. Prove it. Prove that's what it really is. Prove, like, it's so many things that we can't prove that I can't just go to you and prove to. I don't have to prove shit to you. I don't have to prove my beliefs to you. Just like you don't have to prove your beliefs to me. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm too busy being. I'm too busy living. I'm too busy experiencing to be trying to prove anything to anybody. I don't have to prove nothing to you. My life is the proof. My legacy is the proof. I am the proof. I don't have to prove anything. Prove it. No, I ain't proving shit. If it don't resonate with you, it's not for you. That means it's not for you. That means it ain't for you. Shit. I ain't gotta prove nothing to you. Fuck, I look like proving it. No. That's for people who in this rat race who got some points to prove. I don't have no point. I'm over here living it. It's my peace. It's my sanity. It calms me. That's who I know it in my soul. You don't have to prove what's in your soul. That's like me trying to prove I have a connection to my foremothers. That's like me trying to prove that I'm just as much my mama as I don't have to prove that I am that. My life is the proof. Prove what? You're right. I define nothing. I'm everything and nothing. It wasn't a definition for you, Ari, because you're not here to learn anything. You're just here to be a problem. You're not your intentions for being here are not to bless or not to help. You're just here to be disruptive. And I personally don't believe that you're a biological female. I personally don't agree. I don't think that you're biological. Um I love you so much. I'm a transgender woman. I've watched you since I was a teen. Oh my goodness. Come on now. I love what you stand for. Your voice is needed. I hollered when I saw you pop up on our My Wig is Live. I just watched your review of it. So I went back to watch it. Good point. Miss Miss Japan a few years ago looked like a black girl, but she was born in Japan and does not speak English, period. But they still gonna say she's a black girl. They still gonna call her black. Right. I try not to speak on things that I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. Creating monsters, me too. I had to unpack. Yeah, baby, you posed a question that sat on my heart in one of your videos. You asked, what is a woman? It has to be more than just a bloody coochie. I love how you pay homage to our foremothers. Parthenogenics. Right, parthenogenics. So, girl, let me get my ass up because I lay in this bed all day. But yeah, I honestly don't think Ari was. I think Ari is a girl. I think she's an agent because trans girls do stuff like that. It's some of us who want to be biological so bad that we will go against our own. We will go against our own. Agents are real. It's agents. And some of us will go against our own. We'll sit in that comment section and because I'm biological and I'm this and I'm that. And girl, the whole time, girl, she'll be sitting there with 12 inches tucked. and, and even when it be biological, it's 12 inches tucked in your mind. Even when it is biological, when you think like that, it's 12 inches tucked in your mind. That's gonna be our new inside joke, girl. When we start seeing women display that toxic masculinity, like that toxic girl is 12 inches tucked, girl. Spiritually, girl. It's 12 inches tucked spiritually, baby. Girl, there it goes, girl. The 12 inches tucked, girl. Girl, it's stuck spiritually, girl. Oh, girl, it's like Pace McCarthy, girl. It's in there, girl. Girl, let her keep talking, girl. You will hear it, girl. So, because I just personally don't feel like my heart just goes out to I don't get mad at biological females for some of the things that they say, because I realize it's been a lot of conditioning. And for all the programming that I've endured, I had this guy who I've been dating, he told me last night, I said, I've never identified with the construct of manhood. I've never been able to be a man. I said, when I was in spaces when I was younger, I was never able to speak up for myself. I was always, silenced like a woman. And he was like, I know that must have been hard for you, not being able to speak up for yourself. And I was like, no, because when I was young, I thought that's what a woman was supposed to do. I thought that I thought I was supposed to just sit over there and look cute and let him do the talking. And, I thought that was my role. So it wasn't hard at one time, but as I started to grow in consciousness and as I started to realize, hey, I'm more than this construct. I'm more than this box. One of my mentors, and y'all will know if you go back to some of my original videos, some of my older videos, it was a white guy who was a minister, and he was a pastor, and he went to Oxford University over there in England. And when me and him fell out, because we had a falling out a few years back, and when my spirituality started to change, because he said that I needed a vocation. He said I needed a job and a vocation because he wanted me to, he didn't like the fact that I was straying away from Father God, King Jesus. He didn't like the fact that I was straying away from just worshiping the man and just honoring the man and just being a servant of the man, pretty much. And when me and him fell out, he said, because you want to be more than transgender, because being transgender is not enough for you. And I never understood what he meant when he said being transgender is not enough for you. But now I understand what he meant. What he was saying is that I was starting to embrace all of me. Because when you're a woman, you know your place. You are in the Christian religion, you are the rib. You are the helpmate. So you know your place. But when you take ownership of all that you are, there is no place, because this society is not structured to accommodate those of us who embrace all of ourselves. So he was like, you want to be more than a trans woman. You want to be more than you're breaking this box. You're breaking this binary. And he was not happy with that. He was not happy with that. And he blocked me and told me that I was a creature of vanity and told me that I was a monster and a creature of vanity. Because now, mind you, because I've depicted myself as divine, but when I was going down his timeline and when I was scrolling down his Facebook page, all I'm seeing is all these images of porcelain deities, white men, being depicted as angels and being depicted as divine, and the Virgin Mother Mary, porcelain colored, Caucasian, white, all of these white porcelain deities you got scrolling down your timeline, when really, honestly, in the veil of night, we know your biggest inspiration is a big old black dick. We know you love some big old black cock. So, but on your timeline, you got all these porcelain white deities, but you have a problem with me depicting myself as divine. So I don't deserve to depict myself as divine. I'm supposed to be happy with being the rib and the helpmate. But how dare you tap into your divinity? How dare you channel your divinity? How dare you embrace your wholeness? And when we study the Orisha religions and the Voodoo religions and all of these religions that our ancestors practiced, we understand that deities many times manifested as both a woman sometimes and sometimes feminine. They would sometimes take on the form of a female, and they would sometimes take on the form of a male. And this was an acknowledgement of their wholeness. So when you start to tap into your divinity, you start to embrace the all, the everything and the nothing that lives inside of you. You start to embrace all of that. Yeah, I'm live, baby. Let me call you back. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, so So you start to embrace all of that, everything that's going on inside of you. And so that's why he made that comment. That's why he made that comment. You're not satisfied with just being a trans woman anymore. You're right. I wasn't. And that doesn't make me egotistical. That just means that I've grown. Does a caterpillar have to accept being a caterpillar its whole life? No. It's called evolution. Don't get mad at me because I kept growing. I still identify with being Black, although I see myself as more. I see myself as beyond that before that word was even invented. I'm connected to some things that were before that. I see myself as trans. I connect with that, but I see myself as beyond that because there was a word before that word existed. I see myself beyond constructs, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I know I'm having a human experience right now. I know I'm having a mortal experience right now. I know that this body is fragile. I know that this body can be harmed. I'm not foolish. I don't think that I'm invisible or invincible or indestructible in this form, but something in me will continue to live on. And that is the spark that I choose to nurture at this point in my life, at this point in my being, at this point in my understanding, my consciousness, my awareness, whatever word you want to use. I choose to nurture that aspect of my being. Yes, I still feed my flesh. Yes, I still indulge in human things, of course. But I also make time to feed my spirit. And when I feed my spirit, I feed my foremothers and my forefathers that live in me and through me, in whatever form they were in. So we don't stay in the same place. We don't all get there at the same time, but a lot of us are going to get there. And I'm doing that work so you don't have to feel like you're alone on that journey to get there. Because I have felt lonely. It's been very lonely for me as a sex change from the South. I didn't have anybody to really, really take me under their wing and tell me anything other than Father God, King Jesus, won't he do it? And I have seen how harmful that has been for so many beings like me. How harmful it has been for those of us who were born with both penises and vaginas. It's been harmful. It's been very harmful. It's been harmful. It's been too much pressure on them. We look at white privilege and male privilege as these beautiful, amazing things, but a lot of times men be miserable from having to live up to those expectations. We need to open the door so that they can be a little bit more free. White people, Caucasian people, they be miserable a lot of times trying to live up to those expectations that the matrix has placed upon them. Privilege comes at a price. And a lot of them are tired of paying that price. And so we have to be honest about who we are in order for them to know you're not alone. Mama, you're not alone. Daddy, you're not alone. I connect with both of y'all because both of y'all live in me. So I've chosen to be a being who does not forego half of myself. I don't get in male spaces and put down on females and rag down on females and be like, at the end of the day, I'm still a man. I'm still with these men. I still got a dick like you. I don't do that. Because first of all, I don't have a dick like you no more. So you ain't finna give too much to females around me. You just not. I'm not gonna let you get away with too much. And the same thing with females. Like when I feel like she's doing a little bit too much, when I feel like she's weighing it out a little bit too much, I'm a side eye her ass too, because I know if you talking like that, deep down you probably feel the same way about me. So I'm not gonna let her give too much either. I'm not no complete traitor to either one of them. If she give too much, I'ma wear her out. If he give too much, I'ma wear him out. But if he telling the truth, I'ma try to understand and help him to understand. If she telling the truth, I'ma try to help her understand and also understand. I'm getting both of them together. That's why I'm different. You know, I'm not so hard up to be recognized as a woman that I'm finna get in here and just completely shit on men. And I'm not so hard up to be respected or to have some type of respect in men that I'm finna, you know, turncoat and trade womanhood. I'm not gonna do that. Ain't nobody making it around me. You can all get it equally. you can all get it. The fuck? You can all get it. Period. Ain't no such thing. You can all, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in a place in my life at one time where I did I have been in a place where I have sided with men when I was younger, when I didn't know any better. And also, I have been in a place where I've sided with women because I was triggered. And when I woke up, I was upset, you know. And so I was like, just erase them. Everybody should be castrated. Everybody should have a sex change. Castrate all of them. They ain't doing nothing but making diseases with them nutty dicks. Castrate all of them. Evolution will find a way. I was mad at them dicks. But I have matured now. I have grown, but I've been on both sides. I've been over here where I was like, all them niggas need their dicks cut off. And I've been over here where I was like, ooh, I wish it was more dick on the planet and less pussy. Like I've been on both sides of the fence, but now I sit right in the middle. A man, a woman. And I like it here. Wait. Okay, how dare you live in the light? How dare you, right? Trans women equal human male evolving towards feminine ideal. And that, and I like the fact that you said it like that because I think that beings are created. I think that we come here like right now. Society is where we've come in this patriarch. It's so toxic. It's so harmful to future generations that I feel like the divine feminine, you know, like how they were taking female bodies. If you were born a female at one time, you were automatically aborted, or you know, the pregnancy was terminated. So they were aborting a lot of female babies. And I think that that energy has to go somewhere. And I think that the divine feminine, or that energy, it just started hijacking male bodies. I think that it just said, okay, you know, y'all aborting these females, but this energy still has to go somewhere. Energy is just displaced. It's not destroyed. And so that energy just started hijacking male bodies. And I think that we are the karma of how society has treated women. I think that we are the karma of how society has treated the XX, how society has treated the female form, how society has treated feminine. I think we're the karma. I think that nature finds a way to correct itself. And I think nature said, oh, okay, y'all was aborting all of these females. Well, then guess what? We're just going to take over these male bodies. But we're still going to get to, and this is why this situation with TERF, like we have to be able to understand things from a spiritual standpoint and not just look at everything in the physical. Now, I do think that some parts of the transgender movement is just a Trojan horse. I do believe there are some men who see the upswing of feminine power, and they know it's only a matter of time before females XX, before they seize power, before the pendulum swings toward that. And so they've basically disguised themselves, as women, and they've become agents in order to act as a Trojan horse and to infiltrate the movement when womankind does somehow take the lead. So I do believe that some aspects of this is Trojan horse. I've said this numerous times. But I also feel there are those of us who are authentic beings who are having this experience and who realize the suffrage and the plight of what a lot of XX and feminine beings have endured historically. And we are the answer to that. We are the resolve. We are the resolution. We are the healing. We are the healers. But we have to stay woke. Literally, we have to stay woke because it's so easy to fall asleep, as this trend things become so trendy and it's so much material to gain. We can lose sight of making this a reality that could be prosperous for future generations. Amen, a woman. But anyway, let me get off this live. This ended up being a long time, and I'm gonna listen to you N16 Nan 16. I'm gonna listen to you, and I'm not gonna block her. I was going to block her. But I don't want to be, that block, the force is strong with me when it comes to blocking, because baby, I don't have patience this time in this day. Like, if I am trying to reason with you and I'm trying to listen to you and I'm trying to understand, and I feel like you're just being confrontational just to be confrontational, like every time I'm really trying to be understanding with you and I'm really trying to sympathize, and you're just constantly being confrontational just to be confrontational, this is when I don't want it to become a distraction for me and what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to channel and what's flowing through me. And so sometimes I'd be like, child, block. But I do understand that, there will always be opposition. That's why it's called a game. There will always be opposing thoughts, and I don't want to silence and mute them. But when it becomes, you just want to take up space being opposite. You just want to be problematic. This is just like I understand if you're traumatized and it's something you just need to express, something you need to get out. You're really sincerely trying to understand. But girl, at some point it's like you just going backwards and forwards. Like you're not even much trying. Like you see me trying. You see me trying. And I feel like you're not trying. Like when people are just being combative, consistently combative, I be like, oh, no, this is counterproductive. This is not producing what I needed to produce. Like, no, like not at all. But anyway, with another one of my broken candles, we're gonna. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm gonna do this one. Because this one smells good. I need to get up and clean up, though, because my daughter on her way to visit me. I light this candle to guide home the ancestors who have transitioned this realm today and every other day since we've been away from our altars, to the DIPP, dwelling in powerful purpose. Dip. To those who've dipped, okay? As this candle diminishes on the physical plane, it grows with intensity on the spiritual plane. A man, a woman, Lalem, Lalem. I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me for this morning live. I really wasn't expecting for that many people to be on here. I thought I was going to be talking to myself the whole live. But child, we had a good early live, huh? And girl, I was just looking so country. This girl just went live, girl. I ain't even got up and brushed my teeth and stuff yet, girl. So, but girl, let me go ahead and get out this live. I love y'all. Down with it out that I say cool and keep spinning and turning. And Gotti, Yonko, Kalukalo, which means I, which y'all know got goddess. And if I am, you know you are. Right. Exactly, Shania. Love y'all. Have a beautiful day.